Mr. Anderson, I want you to know that I have asked all these questions of the FBI Director Wray as well, so I'm not just picking on you. But do you think we need more FBI and DEA agents in Indian country? Yes or no?
Senator, I'd have to figure out, I think it depends on each specific reservation.
No, I will tell you this. We need more DEA and FBI agents in Indian country. So it doesn't depend on anything. The reason why you have declinations is you don't have quality investigations. I will tell you that. And the other reason why you have declinations is because your limit in FBI and DOJ is too high. It's too high because you guys treat it the way you would if you weren't in Indian country. You're the only jurisdiction in Indian country. And when you don't show up, we don't have law enforcement. And when there's no law enforcement, we have mayhem and drug-free or get-out-of-jail-free zones for drug dealers. We have to have protection for people in Indian country. And I can tell you, it frustrates me to no end to hear a discussion, Captain Jones, about, well, you know, if you use opioids, but maybe you've got a co-utilization. Nonsense. Our problem in North Dakota isn't opioids, it's methamphetamine. It is methamphetamine, and it's killing whole generations of people in my state. And it's got to end. And it's got to end first from a law enforcement standpoint. We can do all the treatment in the world, but if these drugs flow freely into Indian country with no opportunity for change, we won't change anything. So we have got to get law enforcement. And I know, I'm telling you, Mr. Anderson, you are just the brunt of my frustration today. I have had this conversation with Director Wray. I've had this conversation with then nominee for the Attorney General and with DOJ officials who deal with Indian country and drugs and trafficking in Indian country. We are screaming for help. We are screaming for help. And there's no one who lives in Indian country who doesn't recognize this. When we had our methamphetamine, or when we had our roundtable on this issue, I just want to read the comments from, I can find it here quickly, Vice Chairman Hedras from the Fort Peck, Assiniboine and Sioux tribe, who was here. He asked why service units or tribes can't funnel some of their purchases and referred care dollars for prevention and treatment of opioid misuse. I mean, basically, what I will tell you, in our neck of the woods, there doesn't seem to be a coordinated response to this problem in Indian country. And I mean across the board. You see it right there. I am telling you, we are an endangered species in many tribal organizations, and it is because we're losing generations to addiction, whether it's alcohol or whether it is opioids or whether it is methamphetamines. I cannot state it more clearly. And so we need to do better. And hearings like this give us a chance to vent, but I hope what comes out of this is a unified plan. And we're all going to support set-asides. I don't think there's any doubt about it. Maria has been working on set-asides for tribal organizations. To tell you just a little example, in my state, the first grants that went out, the opioid grants went out, there was like, I think, 7 or 8 applications. 2 were denied. They were both in Indian country. We eventually complained, and the governor found some additional money to send to Indian country. But it's got to be culturally significant in the way that Senator Cortez Masto talked about, the way Senator Smith talked about. We need a plan. And it can't just be about treating the addiction. It's got to be a plan about getting law enforcement in the ground, and so on the ground. And so I just hope that you guys will take from this an opportunity to sit down and actually come up with a plan in consultation with the tribes, because they're screaming for help. I asked, and just tell one story, a friend of mine, Paul Ironcloud, who was chairman and head of housing in Pine Ridge, came to me in one of his last visits. He unfortunately died of cancer after his visit with me. And he was very frustrated. He said, Senator Heitkamp, we need help. We need law enforcement. We need the FBI. We need people to come help us. And I said, you know, Paul, where are the tribal elders? Where's the tribal communities? And he looked at me just incredulously and he said, We're afraid. All the good people are hiding. They're afraid of what's happening in their homes. This can't continue. Not in the United States of America. We have murder rates that are unsurpassed in any other part of the country. And this is driven by drugs. It's driven by addiction. And we need to get to the bottom of this. And I'm just pleading with you on behalf of all the people that I represent who are pleading with me, please, 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 make this a top priority. If you care about law and order, this has to be a top priority. If you care about Indian health care, this has to be a top priority. If you care about changing the dynamic for children in the future, this has to be a priority, or we will be nowhere. And so I want to thank the chairman for having the meeting. I want to thank this committee for being so engaged and involved. And I want to pledge to you, as Senator Tester did, tell us what you need. Tell us what's going to change the outcome. We'll work with you to make it happen. And tell our Director Ray I had some strong words.